Hello, my beautiful besties. It's your girl Nelly. If you're part of my nail crew, welcome back. And if you're not, consider subscribing right now and become part of my amazing nail crew. So here I had already applied my peel off method, my tips, and a thin layer of clear acrylic just to secure the tips in case I bump one of my nails because that happens very often. And as you can see, I'm using my 3XL coffin tips. Today I'm going to be using all the colors that I created. I've shown these before in previous videos, so you can already imagine because I've already done sets with them. I'm also going to incorporate the white from Nail Matrix, and I'm going to start with the glitters. So I want to talk today a little bit about this set because I feel like I need to explain how I did this set. First of all, this set was very much an inspiration of a set that I saw on Instagram, and just the extended nail bed part. I think his name is Noonie, and I was like, oh, that looks really pretty, so I want to try it. So my advice to you is, whenever you're doing an extended nail bed with glitter acrylic, make sure that that layer is thin, because remember, you have to encapsulate it, especially if you're going to do what I did here today, which was adding some embellishments to it. You guys have seen me done extended nail beds before. You guys see that I usually do my extended nail beds with 2 beads depending on what I'm using, the cover color, or in this case the glitter. When I work with glitter, I personally like to use smaller beads, um, and that's because it's easier to manage. So I went ahead and I'm using my number 8 brush, and this brush is from Zulei's website. If you want, go ahead and check her out. But that's where I got this brush from. You guys normally don't see me use this brush a lot because it's the smallest brush I have. But in this case, because of the nature of the set and what I needed to do, that's why I decided to go ahead and use a smaller brush. So again, I'm going to explain a little bit, but right now I'm just going to start by giving my shout out. So shout out to everyone who takes the time to watch my videos. Shout out to everyone who likes, comments, and share my videos. It helps me out a lot here on YouTube. Shout out to everyone who's new to my channel. Welcome to my Necro Bestie. Thank you so much for joining the crew. Shout out to my moderators and shout out to my Patreons. Thank you so much for your love and support and for your donation to my channel. So here I had already applied the embellishments. I did went ahead and apply a very thin layer of clear in order to get those embellishments to stay there. But as I went along, because this is something that I have not tried before, this is just something that, I was just trying and recording at the same time. So I had to be very careful. So when you are encapsulating, if you were to do this, again, you can't go with a very big bead of clear because, it's going to look too lumpy. Even though it really does look lumpy, always remember, I can't talk. Always remember that I already have product on my nails. So after I finish this, I think I show you several nails. So this set is very repetitive. I did wanted to show you not all of them because people sometimes get bored of seeing the same thing over and over again. So I just wanted to make sure that you were able to watch and enjoy what you're watching, without having or running the chance of you getting bored of watching the same thing. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah. So here, like I said, I'm trying my best to get that extended nail bed as best as I can. Remember, when you're doing your extended nail beds, try your best. This takes practice. I did make mistakes on this set and I will point them out myself. I will also let you know when did I file and what I filed. I think I showed a short clip of it. I can't really remember because it's been several days, but again, like I said, I'm going to try my best to explain everything as we go along. So again, I go with the second bead, and then I use a third bead for the cuticle area, and then I place the embellishments and whatnot, um, and then I encapsulate that because I don't want to file over the glitters or the embellishments whatsoever. So I thought it would be fun to do a color blocking set. I actually got asked several times if I filed each and every color, and the answer right now is no, I did not. I did file the white, and it was pretty exhausting. I was like, no, I'm not about to do this. So I'm going to show you a easier way where you can get a neat application and not necessarily um, having to file each and every color. It's very easy. You can do it at home. You can practice it. It all depends on the acrylic that you're using. I'm like stumbling as I walk towards my desk and doing this voiceover at the same time. But to talk a little bit more, I have to say thank you guys for your love and support. I am very, very grateful. I am very excited because today, the day that I'm doing this voiceover, is Saturday. Today is the bling class. Currently, it's 8:36 in the morning. And I scheduled the class already for 1 o'clock. I thought that would be a good time. I did put a poll and it was 50-50. So I was like, okay, so I guess it's up to me to make the choice of whether it was between 1, 2, and 3. And it was literally 50-50%, 1 o'clock and 3 Eastern time. So I was like, okay, so I have to consider my members. I know that we all live in different time because, some live on the West Coast, some live in the UK. So, I had to take all those things into consideration. If it was up to me, I would do it at 10 o'clock in the morning because I am an early bird. So I like to do things early. Why? Because I'm very lazy in the afternoon. um, so I had to think about my bestie conjurer, who is very excited about the class. And I was like, okay, so she's like 5 hours ahead of me. So if I do it at 3, I started calculating. I was like, and I value like everyone's time. And I know sometimes on a weekend, you just want to relax, especially if you're not feeling well. I don't know, but I have to take all those things into consideration. So I was like, no, I'm just going to do it at 1 o'clock. That way, it's not so late for her and she can relax after. And so can I. And then I was also thinking about the people that live on the West Coast. I think they're a few hours behind, if I'm not I don't know, I can't remember, but anyways, I was trying to take everybody into consideration. Anyways, if you're not able to make it to the class and you're one of my members, it's perfectly fine. The video will be up there, and I will be very so this is my plan. My plan is to go slow at first. We're going to get to know the brush. We're going to get to know the acrylics that we're working with because, all of us work differently. And we're also going to get to experience and, kind of get to our liquid to powder ratio and, kind of explain all of that and what to do, what not to do, and how to go about it. So that's my plan for today. And on Monday, my oldest daughter graduates from high school. And then Tuesday, my youngest daughter graduates from middle school. So I'm going to be a very busy mom this weekend and next week as well. So I'm definitely excited, extremely proud of my girls. So I cannot wait. I'm very, very excited. So at this point, I have finished all the nail beds, right? So after finishing all of them, of course, I'm going to go in and I'm going to start shaping the nail beds. The way that I shape the nail beds is I go first at an angle, right? And then I make sure that the file is straight. Um, why at an angle? Because sometimes when we apply the acrylic, um, sometimes I'm not as careful, so I don't really pay much attention to what's really the acrylic that's on the nail, and I try to focus more on the line of the extended nail bed. Anyway, I know what I mean. So here you see me shape that. That is very important. I used to skip this step so many times, and then after that I would see like, oh, it's not as straight as I thought it was going to be. So, I needed to stop being lazy and do what I needed to do and shape my nail beds. And that's what I did. And I did that with every single nail. And then after that, that's when I went ahead and applied the white. Now, at the beginning, I was being very careful when I was applying the white because I didn't want to go over it. But then I figured, okay, I can file that off. And that was my not really mistake, is that it took a lot for me to file. It was a very stressful day. This day when I was doing this set, we were expecting people to come to the apartment. It was supposed to be inspected, but nobody showed up. Um, and yeah, so this set took me a very, very long time, only because I had to pause several times and, make sure that everything was okay. Um, I had to have proper ventilation in case they walked in on me doing my nails. Um, it was just, a hot mess, especially this nail right here, the middle finger. Again, I'm the type of person that before you point out a mistake that I make, I'm going to point it out myself, because, I criticize myself before anybody else criticizes me. And I know when I do wrong and I know what I need to fix. So this nail, I got a little too happy and I went over that smile line with the white. And yes, while I took care of some of it, my hands were so tired from filing that white that, and I was also trying to reshape the surface of it a little bit. Um, it was exhausting to me. Like, I was physically tired. So I mean, a lot of you guys know that I suffer from, chronic pain. And, again, like I said, it took me a long time to do this set. So as you can see, I'm literally placing the bead right against the extended nail bed. I like this white. I need to find a good white that is not too hard to work with, and it doesn't dry super, super fast. Because I know Young Nails has a good white, but unfortunately it dries really fast. So I need something that can help me or allow me to work with it, a little bit longer. Um, so here you're going to see that the application is pretty neat. But then again, I had to, apply some more because I was going to start my color blocking and I wanted to bring that white a little further down. If you look very closely to the set, you're going to notice a lot of imperfections. Again, I'm not thriving or striking for perfection. I'm just looking to improve my craft. Again, I think I don't really do color blocking very often. So that's something that kind of works against me. At the same time, maybe this is something that I need to work more on, and in order to make it easier. So, it all starts when I apply this second bead, because I wanted that white to go a little further down. And as you can see, I start brushing it over, obviously, to blend it with the bead that it was applied before. And I went over just a little bit, but on that middle finger, I was too happy. I went way too much over the extended nail bed. And also, you know, even though this white is easy to work with, I still find a little bit of, of an issue to work with it. I don't know what is it about white. I don't know if it's a pigment within the acrylic or what it is. So for this first nail, I think I did use the X-Acto knife, but I did not use it for each and every single one of them, because I was trying to be very precise with the line. I wanted to make sure that that line was perfect as possible. Um, but I did not do that with, each and every single one of them. And that end right there that I'm trying to make sure is straight, I did went ahead and file over that line. That was the only part of it that I filed. The rest of the application, you're going to see how I do it. It is something that is not impossible to do. It again, it all depends on the type of acrylic that you're using and how fast it dries, and all the rules of acrylic. But I think I do show you me filing a little bit over it. I can't remember because it's been several days. It's already Saturday. I did this on Thursday, and I'm very forgetful, especially after yesterday. Yesterday I had it wasn't a bad day at work. I'm not going to call it a bad day. It was an interesting day because first of all, we were short staffed, which I'm cool with. I'm very much used to working, short staff, and it's not bad because it keeps you busy and moving all the time. But for some reason, yesterday was a day where we had the most, I wouldn't call them issues, but, situations that we had to fix, with Hispanic patients. And to my luck, I'm the only Spanish speaking technician in the pharmacy that day. Okay, so here you're going to see that application is flawless. Don't get too happy or too proud because I ended up messing it up after I applied this bead. So just letting you know. But yeah, like we've had issues that we try to solve with people. But yesterday, for the most part, it was within the Hispanic community. That pharmacy has a lot of Hispanic patients, and I love them, and they love me. But there was a lot of issues. I don't know why. It's something that I did not normally see. Like, yeah, we would have certain problems that, whatever. And something funny is that we Hispanics, we like to talk. And I think that's why I decided to just talk on my videos and not at music, because I can talk your ear out, especially about nails. What? Girl, we can talk hours. So this is what I kept doing for the rest of the set. As you can see, just with the same application, and making it as straight as I could, even though at the end I ended up filing. So I don't know when I messed that nail plate. Like, I don't know how I did that, but I did. And I just wanted to point that out. But anyways, yeah, there was a lot. And, so they like to talk. They give me all the background information that is not necessarily important to the issue that they're having. But I'm not going to stop you from talking. I like to give good customer service, and part of that is listening and being attentive to the patient, and, making sure that all their needs are being met. Oh, so I'm sorry, I did not show you when I filed it, but it was a lot. I was tired. So what I was doing was, I don't know if you were able to see it now that I'm looking at me editing this video. I'm just pushing that color right up against that white, not going above it whatsoever. So when I pick up the bead, I tap the brush to remove the excess monomer within the brush, and that will give me a more solid bead. And that's going to prevent the bead from running everywhere. And as you can see, I did not file. That's not even cured yet, and I'm already picking up the same color. Did you see what I just did there? I tap my brush, the other side that does not have the bead. I tapped it to release the rest of the monomer to make a more solid bead, and then I work patting it. You don't have to brush it. You just pat the product into place. And you're going to do that until you see that it starts to become a little bit more solid. Now, I have to say, from this view, it looks perfect. There were some beads that were a little bit more raised than others, but don't get discouraged or don't think that you're doing something wrong, because it happens. Also, I want to mention that I do encapsulate it. So don't think too hard. Don't be so hard on yourself. Be more confident. Just make sure to remove the excess from the brush, the excess monomer. And then always remember to just pat the product into place, and then you can go ahead and make sure that the bottom of that bead is actually straight. So that's how I was able to accomplish this set. And I did that for every single nail. It made it so much easier. I did not have to file every single color, because that would have been a lot of work. And I'm the type of person that if the set requires a lot of work, I'm not going to do it. Because, first of all, I'm not in a rush. I'm in my house. I'm doing my own nails, but I do have a certain vision, and I want to see that vision come to life. So again, I'm just patting it, making sure it doesn't go over the orange. Patting, 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 making sure that the sides are straight. There were some times where I applied a little bit too much acrylic, and I did went ahead and removed it. I don't know if I was able to caught it on camera, but that's what I did. There was a time where I was like, oh my god, I don't even know if I have enough space right now to put all these colors together. And then there were other times where I was like, okay, so I made this color a little bit too thin, so now I have a lot of space. So some colors will look a little bit like the application will look a little bit bigger than others, which is fine with me. Again, I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm just trying to have fun and, show you how I did it in case you want to practice it. I'm not a nail tech, so I don't have the pressure to, having to be perfect with every single set. I guess that's a good thing. But you know what I mean. This bead right here, try to make it not so thick, because that's your end bead and you don't want that. You don't want the free edge of your nail to be very bulky. And like I said, remember that you'll have to put a clear coat over this, for different reasons, to straighten the nail, to balance the nail. Here, I was just removing a little bit of the purple that transferred onto the white, not because of the bead, because I didn't brush it up. It's because, the monomer gets some of that pigment. So even if you're just patting it, obviously when you're patting it, you're going to pat over the white, and you might have some pigment monomer stuck on your brush, and that color will transfer to the white. So that's the only thing that I would say be careful with. Because even though you're not going over it with the bead, the monomer might have some of that pigment, and white is something that will get stained so easily. I think that's why I don't really use it as much. But yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun creating this set. This video is not as long as other videos because I did not want to take away from the fact that I added some embellishments, so I chose not to apply bling. I've been noticing that all my rainbow sets, I haven't applied bling, and I'm getting a little bit too comfortable with it, and I'm not happy with that. So I think for my next set, I will definitely add bling, because bling is something that it's something that is so soothing to me, and I love that part, but I'm getting too comfortable not doing it. So for this nail, for example, you're going to see that the orange, it's a little bit more of acrylic than the rest of the colors. But again, I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm just trying to have fun, trying to show you how I did it. So in case you want to practice it, you don't have to file each and every single color. It'll be fine. You just have to make sure you remove the excess to get a solid enough bead with just enough monomer where you can apply it and you'd be able to manage it just fine. After I did the entire application, all I did was I encapsulated. As you can see for this bead, I did apply a little bit too much, and the bead was actually had a little bit too much monomer in it as well, so it was running towards the side. So I just removed it and continued to pat it without having monomer on my brush. And then I went ahead and cleaned my brush if I had to, dipping it in the monomer, dried it, I removed all that excess, and then I went back again and I did the same thing. This was one of the nails that I was like, oh my god, the orange is too much of the color, so now I don't know if I'll be able to add the yellow. So yeah, I mean, it happens, it's okay. Just remember to have fun, especially if you're just doing your nails. My content is not necessarily, you know, I don't really, I don't know how to put this into words without people getting offended, because people nowadays get offended over anything. But I don't try to be perfect. I just try to have fun. I try to enjoy what I'm doing. And as long as I'm doing that, I'm good, you know? So this one I did, again, apply a little bit too much, but I was able to manage. So after I encapsulated the nails, I didn't do much with it. I just apply, and of course, shaping, which I do off camera. You're going to see that it jumps straight to the finished look. Here, I'm just going to show you how I encapsulated the nail. And I do this to, again, strengthen the nail, because it doesn't have enough acrylic, especially in the color areas, and to balance the nail, because obviously there are some parts that are higher than others. So I want that nail to look perfectly smooth, and not having any lumps or bumps in it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's everything I did for this set. I'm sorry that I did had in mind doing some 3D flowers right there where the white part is, but I was a little stressed out about the fact that my apartment was going to be inspected, and all for nothing because it never showed up. So I was like, let me try to finish this set fast in case, they walk in here that it doesn't smell like monomer. So after I finished the set and I did my finished videos for Instagram and my reel from YouTube, I started to clean my desk. I started to remove like everything monomer wise so that the smell was not as strong. It doesn't bother me, but I know it bothers other people. And I did not want that to be a problem for me, with the inspection, but they never showed up. So, oh man, I wish I would have known that because, so at this point I had just finished the application, and here is the finished look after I had shaped and buffed them. And all I did was I just applied some top coat. And if you look very closely, that middle nail, I don't like it. I'm like, when you don't like something and it's like itching, I'm like scratching my face because I don't like it. But let me know what you guys think of this set. My next video, I will give you an update on how I survived both graduations, one back to back, and I definitely look forward to that. And I'm definitely looking forward for the 3D nail art class that will be hosted later on today. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Love you. Bye.